Hey, what's up? This update brings an incredible new playable fighter that's been highly anticipated by the community, and it also expands on the crossover content between Fatal Fury and Street Fighter in ways that feel fresh and fun, but still totally in line with what fans love about both franchises. So let's start with the big new addition, Nightmare Geese. If you've been following Fatal Fury lore for a long time, you know that Geese Howard is one of the most iconic villains in the series, and in this game he returns in a ghostly form that's both eerie and powerful. The developers describe him as an ethereal force that literally chills the roster to its core, and playing as him feels like stepping into the darker side of Southtown's history. He's got a really complete moveset that plays on his legacy in previous games, but also gives him some new tools unique to his Nightmare incarnation. You've got versions of his classic projectile attacks like Reppu-ken and Shippu-ken that feel familiar, but hit with a different kind of weight. And then there are command grabs like his Raime Guhanage and Explosion Ball that add serious mix-up potential in matches. There's even an Ateminage catch counter and a Fudo-ken rushdown style that lets you overwhelm opponents up close with aggressive pressure. On top of that, there's a brand new episodes of Southtown's story chapter built around him, letting you explore his motivations and actions as this spectral figure moving through the city. It's a really cool piece of storytelling that ties into the wider single-player RPG mode in the game. But that's not all. This update also continues the crossover between Fatal Fury City of the Wolves and Street Fighter with what's being called Round 3. If you've seen earlier patches, you know that characters like Ken and Chun-Li have already crossed over into Southtown, and they brought with them not just new fighters, but also themed content that blends the two worlds together. Building on that, Round 3 doesn't just stop at adding characters, it also gives existing fighters new alternate costumes inspired by outfits from Street Fighter 6. Specifically, Rock and Preacha get new looks based on Luke and Juri, and the cool part is that you can customize their colors in the game's color edit mode, so you can make those costumes feel like your own before jumping into battles. This update doesn't just stop at visual flair either. As part of the crossover content, there's new crossover story stuff and unique interactions in EOST mode that reflect this blend of universes. While the official patch notes don't go into every single detail of those additions, players have been sharing clips and impressions online, showing how the Street Fighter mechanics and themes get woven into Fatal Fury systems in subtle ways that make the fights feel fresh without strain from the core identity of KOTW. It's a really neat way to merge inspirations from both games into something that feels wholly its own. Now, aside from the big character and crossover content, it's worth talking about why this particular update matters in the broader picture of the game's development. City of the Wolves has been getting a steady stream of balance updates and new content drops since launch, with a mix of new fighters, balance patches, and crossover episodes throughout Season 1 and Season 2. We saw updates introducing characters like Kim Jae-hoon earlier this year, along with the start of Ranked Match Phase 2, and each update has tried to refine the game's balance and competitive play at the same time it expands the roster. And with this new edition of Nightmare Geese, it really feels like the developers are striking a balance between honoring the classic Fatal Fury lore while also pushing the game forward with new mechanics and visuals that keep people coming back. Many players have pointed out that bringing in a character like Geese, one who is steeped in the history of the series, as a ghostly figure adds something that feels new but also unmistakably connected to the roots of the franchise. It's like they're acknowledging where Fatal Fury came from, while also asking fans to reimagine that legacy through this updated fighting system. One thing that's interesting about how the patch notes are presented is that while the core highlight sections talk about the major new additions, they also hint at adjustments to existing systems and quality of life improvements that aren't always front and center. For example, the earlier patch that brought Mr. Big into the game added things like a frame meter in training mode so players could get more technical with their practice sessions. And there's been a general sense that each update is trying to make the various styles and mechanics of the game feel more polished based on community feedback. Even if the official notes don't shout about every little tweak, there have been discussions in forums and on social media about how these updates shift character balance and performance in deeper ways over time.